In previous episodes of How to Buy a Yacht, we looked at a hypothetical American buyer spending €4.25 million to take a Ferretti from Italy all the way to the United States. We also looked at a hypothetical British buyer buying an 80-foot Pershing and keeping it in the Med. Today though, we look at our largest yacht ever as we consider a hypothetical Russian oligarch shopping for a €71.5 million mega yacht here at the Monaco Yacht Show. For this particular yacht inspection, I was shown around the yacht by Nicholas Fry, who's responsible for the charter of Solo. His knowledge of the facilities of this yacht and also her potential for charter income were to prove to be very useful indeed. Again, the process of a yacht purchase can be split into three distinct areas: the legal, the logistic, and the financial. Let's start with the legal. For legal advice, I spoke to David Reardon of law firm Hill Dickinson. They're well known for dealing with the sales of some of the world's largest yachts, and David was able to give me some great advice as to how the usual MEBA contract needs to be tailored to accommodate a yacht of this size. Now, if you've watched the other videos in this series, you'll know that once I have paid a 10% deposit for Solo, I'm entitled to a sea trial on board. What you may not know is that this sea trial is limited to just 4 hours according to the contract. And that may be enough for me to ensure that I'm happy with the noise levels in my cabin and other areas I'm likely to be using a lot, but it certainly won't be enough for a team of surveyors to make all their operational tests of the yacht. So that 4 hours needs to be extended, and it's likely that the sea trial will be an all-day affair. After the sea trial, and assuming that I accept the yacht at that point, the yacht will have a thorough survey, and the standard MEBA contract allows for 7 days after the survey is completed for me as the buyer to accept the yacht, or reject it if very serious issues are discovered, or flag up smaller issues that need addressing before I take ownership. 7 days though for a yacht of this size is just not enough, since the survey report is likely to be very lengthy indeed and will take a long time to compile. The advice from the lawyer is to allow for longer than that, maybe 14 days. In the case of Solo, she was built in 2018, so she'll still have a shipyard warranty. So some may feel that a survey is less important. However, it's always advisable to survey the yacht anyway, since I really don't want to buy something that's going to be in need of repair, even if it is paid for under warranty. Another peculiarity of Solo that needs legal attention is that she's available on the charter market. So if bookings have already been accepted before I buy the yacht, I need to know about it. In my case, I would keep the yacht on the charter market in any case, so I need to make sure that the contracts with the charter guests are transferred to my new ownership company. In the event that I don't want to take the charters, the seller will need to compensate the charter guests. This is quite costly, so certainly the seller will take this into consideration when he considers my offer. What about the logistics of buying a yacht of this size though? Solo has capacity for a crew of 18 people, so the logistics of buying her and then running her can seem quite daunting. With a yacht of this size, I would strongly recommend finding a good yacht management company. Actually, to get finance and insurance on a yacht of this size, it may be that you have to have a shore-based yacht management company caring for it. For the purpose of this video, I spoke to a company called JMS, since I know that they've relevant experience with yachts of this size and they have an outstanding reputation in the industry. They can help me find a suitable captain and crew for the yacht, prepare their contracts and set up a payroll system, ensure that all of the necessary crew training, including safety drills, are carried out regularly and that safety equipment on board is always compliant with whatever certification is necessary. Offer technical support to the captain as he juggles the challenging task of keeping every system on board in top working condition and also satisfying the every request of a demanding owner. And that would be me, by the way. The management company will send me reports every month showing exactly where my money has been spent, from wages of the crew all the way to cleaning supplies and chauffeur services for me and my guests. The services of a good yacht management company don't end there though. As I've already mentioned, the yacht will need to be sea trialled and surveyed before I purchase her, and the management company can deal with that too. In the case of 72 metre Solo, JMS recommended 3 surveyors attending the survey over a 3-day period, and they suggested that whilst it's normal to lift a yacht to inspect the bottom, since Solo is so new and to avoid unnecessary expenses, it would be an option to ensure that she's in clear water where divers can be used to inspect underneath. There's no hiding that buying a yacht like this is an expensive process, so when a management company is actively looking for ways to keep the costs contained, that can sometimes even cover their yearly fees, which is something we'll take a look at in a moment. To say that you have to be very wealthy to buy a yacht like this is probably the biggest understatement I've ever made on this channel. But let me give you for a moment my perspective as a broker. From what I've seen, very often it's a more difficult decision to spend $500,000 on a yacht than it is to spend $71.5 million on a yacht. I say that because the person with a $500,000 budget, very often for them, it's the biggest purchase decision they've ever made of what is essentially a luxury toy. And so it's not unusual for a buyer with that kind of budget to deliberate for months, sometimes even years, before they eventually make a decision. A yacht like this is different though. First of all, there's not such a big selection of yachts of this size and this age available on the market, but also the buyer that has a budget for this kind of yacht very often has a business so vast that for them it's no longer such a big deal to transfer funds to the tune of tens of millions of dollars, because they're probably making decisions like that in their business on a regular basis anyway. But the important thing is that the key to a smooth transaction and to a smooth ownership experience is exactly the same as what they do in their business. That is to say, to have the right people to take responsibility for the various roles in the transaction of purchase and of running of the yacht. And on the subject of how much it costs to buy a yacht of this size, let's take a look at the final aspect of yacht purchase, the financials. Well, the asking price of Solo is €71,500,000, which needless to say is the biggest single expense of all. But let's look at the costs associated with the actual sales process. The law firm that helped me to prepare this video stated that depending on the complexity of the transaction, the fees are likely to be between €30,000 and €40,000, although this doesn't include setting up an ownership structure, which in all honesty is a minor expense in the context of a deal of this size. As I mentioned, I'll be using the same company to do the survey that will then go on to manage the yacht on a monthly basis, and their fees for surveying the yacht will be approximately €15,000. This is for 3 surveyors over a 3-day period. So my total upfront costs, aside from the purchase price, are relatively little, totaling about €55,000. The yearly running costs, on the other hand, of course, are considerable on a yacht of this size, and they can vary enormously from one owner to the other. With a crew of 18 people to pay every month, not to mention berth costs, but with not such a high maintenance and repair budget, since the yacht is still under warranty, I would expect to spend about €4 million a year for this yacht. But I should mention that her proven charter revenue potential can go a long way to covering that, if not in fact covering it entirely. Of those total running costs, our sponsor, Private Insurance Services, provided a quote for €234,800 for the yacht's insurance, and the yacht management came in at about €15,000 per month. I should add that the management fees include operational and technical management, financial management, safety management, and crew management. Naturally, I don't have to take all of those services, so if I want to save a little on monthly fees, I can. Although, of course, the less work the management company does, the more work I may have to do. So there you have it. The yacht is bigger, the numbers are greater, but essentially the process is exactly the same. Get your legal aspect of the purchase in order. Get a good marine lawyer. They'll need to tweak the contract a little bit because of the size of the yacht, but they will look after your legal interests. Get your logistics in order. A good captain, a good surveyor. And when you talk about a yacht the size of this, I would highly recommend finding a top yacht management company too. And then the financial interests, the financial aspects of the purchase. Sometimes I'm surprised when I hear of highly successful business people who buy a yacht and then are shocked by the expenses. I somehow doubt that they have that lack of preparation in their normal business activity. You buy a yacht essentially to relax and to have fun on. You get the legal, the logistic, and the financial aspects right, and you can do just that.